All right, so listen to this. You guys sent in a ton of stuff on crop circles for this deep dive.
Yeah, a whole bunch.
It's amazing. We have everything from people who say they saw them being made
To like hardcore science papers.
and even, wait for it, psychic predictions about crop circles.
I know, I was looking through all this stuff you guys sent.
Yeah.
And it's a wild mix. We've got everything from people talking about seeing them in like the 70s
Oh, yeah.
to scientists analyzing the plants in the circles. And then you've got folks talking about like alien messages and consciousness.
I know. It's amazing. So where do we even begin with all of this?
Well, I think we should start by going back to the beginning.
Okay.
Like way back to when people first started noticing these things.
So the 70s and 80s.
Exactly. Back then, people had some pretty interesting theories about what was causing them.
Like that one about whirlwinds.
Oh, right. The stationary whirlwind theory.
Yeah. That was from a meteorologist named Dr. Terrence Meaden.
Yeah. He thought that these mini whirlwinds were swirling around and flattening the crops into these patterns.
But like, how could a whirlwind make such intricate designs?
Well, that's where things get tricky because some of these crop circles are incredibly complex.
Exactly.
Remember that one near Stonehenge?
Yeah. What was it called? The Julia set?
Yes. The Julia set. It was this incredibly detailed fractal pattern. And get this, it appeared in broad daylight, like a Stonehenge guard was doing his rounds and suddenly, bam, there it was.
No way. And nobody saw anything.
Nope. A pilot had flown over the field earlier and there was nothing. Then poof, instant crop circle.
That's crazy. So much for the whirlwind theory, right?
Right. I mean, whirlwinds are messy. They rip things up. But in these crop circles, the plants are often bent.
Yeah.
Not broken, bent at like a perfect 90-degree angle.
Right near the ground, too.
Exactly. It's like something pushed them down gently.
It does make you wonder.
And it's not just Stonehenge. A lot of these crop circles show up near ancient sites.
Really? Like what kind of sites?
Oh, all sorts. Burial mounds, stone circles, even places like Avebury and Glastonbury.
Interesting. So maybe those places have some kind of special energy that attracts these things.
That's one theory. Some people believe that these ancient sites are like energy vortexes, and that whatever's making the crop circles is drawn to that energy.
Okay, but hold on a sec. We can't talk about crop circles without mentioning Doug and Days, right?
Ah, yes. The infamous Doug and Dave.
Those guys claim to have made a bunch of crop circles themselves.
Right. Using planks and ropes.
They even did demonstrations for the media showing how they did it.
Yeah. It was a big deal back in the day.
It kind of made people think that maybe all crop circles were hoaxes.
Yeah. It definitely cast a shadow over the whole phenomenon.
So case closed.
Yeah.
It's all just a bunch of guys messing around in fields.
Well, not so fast. Even Doug and Dave admitted that they couldn't replicate all the features found in some crop circles.
Really? Like what kind of features?
Well, for one, the way the plants are bent, they said they could never get that same precise bend. And there's more. Get this, after they were debunked on TV, they actually saw a genuine crop circle forming super fast.
No way! So even the hoaxers are saying there's something weird going on.
Exactly. It's like they were saying, hey, we may have fooled some people.
Right.
But there's definitely something else out there creating these things.
Wow. Okay, so if it's not all Doug and Dave,
Yeah.
then what are we looking at here?
Yeah.
What makes a real crop circle different from a fake one?
That's a great question, and that's what we're going to dive into next.
All right, I'm ready. Hit me with it.
So let's talk about some of the things that set genuine crop circles apart from the ones made by people.
Okay.
We'll start with the plants themselves. In real crop circles, you often see something called blown nodes.
Blown nodes. What's that?
It's where the plant's nodes, those little bumps on the stem,
Yeah.
they kind of explode from the inside out.
What? Like they just burst open?
It's like they've been exposed to some intense heat or energy.
That's pretty weird. And hoaxers can't replicate that.
Nope. They've tried, but they can't get that same effect.
So it's like something's happening to the plants on a cellular level.
Exactly. It's not just about bending the stalks.
Right.
It's about changing the plant structure from the inside out.
Okay. So that's the plants.
Wow.
What else is there?
Well, the soil underneath genuine crop circles is often different too.
Different how?
Scientists have found all sorts of anomalies, like depleted nutrients, changes in the crystalline structure of the soil, and even elevated levels of certain elements.
So it's like the ground itself has been zapped with something.
It really does seem that way. And there's more. Some researchers have found magnetic disturbances near crop circles.
Magnetic disturbances. What does that mean?
It means that compasses go haywire. Electronics act up.
Wow.
And people sometimes feel dizzy or disoriented.
Like their inner compass is messed up.
It's a possibility. It's like something's interfering with the Earth's magnetic field in those areas.
Okay, now this is getting interesting. We're talking about more than just flattened plants.
Right. We're talking about changes in the soil, changes in the magnetic field.
It's like something's leaving its mark on the environment.
Exactly. Right. And that's what makes these genuine crop circles so fascinating.
And so mysterious.
Yeah.
So if it's not whirlwinds or pranksters, then what could be causing these things? What are we dealing with here?
That's the million-dollar question. And that's what we're going to explore next time. Get ready for some truly mind-blowing possibilities.
Right. I can't wait. Last time we were talking about those magnetic disturbances near crop circles. It's like something's messing with the Earth's magnetic field.
It really is. And it gets even weirder when you start looking into reports of strange lights in the sky near crop circles.
Oh, yeah. Like UFOs.
Well, some people describe them as UFOs, but there are also these things called tubes of light.
Tubes of light? What are those?
Imagine like a cylinder of light, sometimes white or blue, just hanging in the air near where a crop circle appears.
Have people actually seen these things?
Oh, yeah. There are tons of accounts. Some from pretty credible sources, like scientists and researchers who were studying crop circles.
So what are they saying?
Well, in one case, a group of researchers was out in a field at night, and they saw this tube of light descend from the sky.
Wow.
And the next morning, guess what? A new crop circle had formed right where that light touched down.
No way. So you're saying these tubes of light are somehow making the circle?
It's a possibility. Some people believe that these lights are beams of energy that are being used to create the patterns in the crops.
Like, how is that even possible?
That's the big mystery. We're talking about technology that's way beyond anything we currently understand.
So are we talking about aliens here?
Well, some people believe that these tubes of light are connected to UFOs.
Right, because there have been a lot of UFO sightings near crop circles, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like the two phenomena go hand in hand.
But why would UFOs be making crop circles? What's the point?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. Some people think they're trying to communicate with us.
Really? Like sending us messages through these patterns?
It's a theory. Others believe that they might be using the crop circles as some kind of navigational aid.
Like landing markers or something?
It's possible. Or maybe they're just messing with us. Who knows?
I guess we'll probably never know for sure. But it's fun to speculate.
It is. And that's part of what makes this whole topic so fascinating.
So we've got strange lights, magnetic disturbances, and plants that are bent and broken in weird ways.
Right. It's a lot to take in.
It is. But remember all those symbols and shapes we were talking about earlier? The sacred geometry stuff?
Oh, yeah. The spirals, the tetrahedrons, the flower of life, all that good stuff.
It's like those shapes are trying to tell us something.
Some people believe that those symbols are a form of communication.
Like a language we need to learn how to decipher.
Exactly. And maybe the key to understanding that language lies in the energy of the crop circles themselves.
Energy? What do you mean?
Well, think about it. I've already talked about the magnetic disturbances.
Yeah.
And the strange lights and the way that plants are affected. It all points to some kind of energy being present at these sites.
Okay. So what kind of energy are we talking about here?
Some people believe that it's electromagnetic energy. Others think it might be something more exotic, like scalar waves or orgone energy.
Orgone energy. I've heard of that. Isn't that like a life force energy?
That's right. It was a concept developed by Wilhelm Reich back in the mid-20th century.
So you're saying that crop circles might be tapping into this orgone energy?
It's a possibility. And maybe that's why people report feeling so different when they're inside a crop circle.
Like a sense of peace or euphoria.
Exactly. It's like they're being bathed in this positive energy.
That's pretty wild. But let's go back to those symbols for a second.
Okay.
What do you think they mean? Are they trying to tell us something specific?
Well, each symbol has its own unique meaning and significance. And the way they're arranged within the crop circle can add another layer of meaning.
That's like a complex code we need to crack.
It really is. But maybe we don't need to overthink it.
What do you mean?
What if the message is simpler than we realize?
Like what?
What if they're just trying to get our attention?
To make us aware of something.
Exactly. Maybe the message is simply, we're here, or pay attention.
That's an interesting thought. It's like they're trying to wake us up to something.
Right. To make us realize that we're not alone in the universe.
And that there's so much more to reality than we currently understand.
Exactly. And maybe by studying these crop circles and trying to understand their message, we can start to expand our consciousness and open ourselves up to new possibilities.
That's a pretty awesome thought.
It is, and it's one of the things that makes this whole topic so compelling.
So we've talked about lights, energy symbols, and even the possibility of communication from other intelligences.
It's been quite a journey so far.
It has. But there's one more thing I want to touch on before we wrap things up. Remember those psychic predictions we were talking about?
Oh, yeah. The folks who claim to know where and when crop circles are going to appear?
Exactly. Let's dive into that next. Okay, so last time we were talking about psychic predictions and crop circles.
Yeah, like people who say they can sense where these things are going to pop up.
Exactly. It's like they're tuned into something that tells them where to go.
It's wild, right? I mean, we've been talking about all this evidence of energy and strange forces at work. So maybe it's not so far-fetched to think that some people are sensitive to that energy.
Like they have a sixth sense for it or something?
It's a possibility. And remember that psychic we were talking about earlier? Isabel Kingston.
Oh, yeah. The one who claims to be guided to crop circles by higher beings.
Exactly. She's made some pretty accurate predictions about crop circle locations.
And even the designs sometimes, right?
Yeah. It's like she's tapping into the same source that's creating these things.
Okay. But what if she's just really good at guessing? Or making lucky guesses? I mean...
That's always a possibility. But her track record is pretty impressive. And it's not just her. There are other psychics and dowsers who have made accurate predictions about crop circles.
Huh. So maybe there's something to this whole psychic connection thing.
It seems that way. And it ties into what we were talking about earlier about consciousness and the role it might play in all of this.
Right, like maybe our thoughts and intentions can somehow influence the creation of these things.
Exactly. It's a mind-blowing concept, but there's actually some evidence to support it.
Really? Like what kind of evidence?
Well, there have been experiments where groups of people have successfully willed crop circles into existence.
No way. Like they just focused their minds on a field and poof, a crop circle appeared.
Well, it's not quite that simple, but the results are definitely intriguing.
Wow. So maybe we're not just passive observers of this phenomenon.
Right. Maybe we're somehow participating in it, whether we realize it or not.
Okay. So let's bring it all together. What have we learned from this deep dive into crop circles?
Well, we've seen that there's a lot more to these things than meets the eye. We've explored the history of crop circles, the evidence for and against their authenticity. We've talked about strange lights, magnetic disturbances, and the possible role of sound and energy in their creation.
And we've even ventured into the realm of psychic phenomena and the power of consciousness.
It's been quite a ride, and I think the biggest takeaway for me is that we need to keep an open mind when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Totally. We can't just dismiss it all as hoaxes or hallucinations.
Exactly. There's too much evidence that suggests there's something truly extraordinary going on.
And maybe by studying these crop circles and trying to understand them, we can learn something about ourselves and the universe we live in.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe one day we'll finally unravel the mystery of crop circles and discover their true meaning.
That would be amazing. Well, listeners, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the world of crop circles. I hope you enjoyed this journey as much as we did.
It was a lot of fun.
It was. And remember, the exploration doesn't end here. Keep looking up, keep asking questions, and keep your mind open to the infinite possibilities that surround us. Until next time, keep exploring.